We're talking to Richard Hall from richplanet.net. Richard, finally for tonight, if all these people are coming to Earth, why don't they contact the general public via broadcast frequencies and let us know that they're about?
Okay, then, if you listen to my previous answer about what it is that they're doing here, then they wouldn't want the mass of humanity to know that they were here. And it's possible that the few people that are in control of the information are being threatened by those aliens not to do that.
But you think that that some of these aliens are working with governments, don't you?
I think that they have done in the past. I'm not sure whether they have now. I mean, there was a meeting with President Eisenhower in 1954. He met with a race of alien beings, and there was an exchange of technology. They gave America certain technology at that meeting, and this has been corroborated by a few different witnesses and written about in a letter to somebody who was present at that meeting. This took place at Edwards Air Force Base in February of 1954, where Eisenhower went on board a flying saucer and had a 40-minute meeting with this race of aliens. During that meeting, they actually demonstrated that their craft could become invisible. And Eisenhower was extremely shocked by this, and he said, there's no way that the public are ready for this.
So, where does this all go now, Richard? I guess there'll be people who don't believe it, there'll be people who believe it. But how does this thing actually move forward? Because I guess it leaves a lot of people thinking, well, this stuff just doesn't exist, because we've talked about this for 50-odd years.
Yeah, and it's the cover-up has continued for that time. I mean, when Barack Obama set up a website called change.gov, and that website was to basically for people to suggest what their most requested policy would be, what they wanted him to look at. And UFO disclosure was one of the highest things submitted on that website. If you go to that website now, it's actually disappeared and been replaced by whitehouse.gov, and there's no mention of UFOs. So I think the movement in America for disclosure is far greater than it is in Britain. I mean, our Parliament has only discussed UFOs once. That was in 1979 in the House of Lords, and 14 Lords spoke on that day, and 9 of them were strongly in favour of getting this information out. But it was swept under the carpet, and it was never discussed again. If
we accept then, for the sake of argument, that aliens do exist, that governments do know about this, and we came to a point where a government decided to disclose it, what do you think would be the reaction of the general public?
Well, I think it would become accepted. I mean, people would have no choice other than to accept it. I mean, the Catholic religion have been making statements in order so that their followers will not be disrupted, because they've said, yeah, aliens may exist. They've put out many statements of that nature. So, I think religion will, it will have to make some changes, but it will survive, and I think the human race will survive. Certainly, the world will be a different place, the post-disclosure world, but I think it needs to happen, because you can bury your head in the sand, but I'm not the sort of person who likes to do that. I want to know the truth.
But do you think it would actually affect our day-to-day lives at all?
It would if they released the technology that they're hiding. I mean, if they just said, look, we've been visited, they come and go, we can't catch them, then, okay, that might, bring some uncertainty to people on the Earth, which again is why they do not. Why bother telling someone about a threat which you have no defense against? What would be the point? But I would rather know personally. But you can see why they don't disclose it.
Richard, it's a great pleasure to talk to you tonight, and I hope we can do this sometime again in the future. But thank you very much for being on the show tonight.
Well, thanks very much indeed for having me again, John.
Thank you very much. That's Richard Hall. He runs the website richplanet.net if you want to find out.